XLRI Jamshedpur was established in year 1949 and is the oldest B school in the country. The college provides its various PGDM and executive PGDM courses and has a top accreditations and prestigious ranking. Today's panelist is an alumni of same premier B school. I, Shaurya, on behalf of the Ladder podcast channel, welcome you all to this unique episode in series of interviews. Post completion of 22 years of service in Indian Army, Lieutenant Colonel Cyrus Minwala pursued his PGDM in HR from XLRI Jamshedpur and has worked as head HR in Tata Projects for almost a decade. He has also tenanted various appointments like head of administration and head of logistic and material management in same company. So without wasting much of our time, let us interact with the panelists and know the importance of MBA from such premier institute.
Very good evening, sir. Welcome to the podcast channel. I, Shaurya, welcome you for this special interview, sir.
Thanks, Shaurya. It's a great pleasure being here and addressing all the officers from the three services. And I hope that whatever clarifications and whatever doubts they have, we'll be able to clear it as we move forward.
Sir, please tell us about how well planned and sorted was your decision to transition from the military to corporate, sir.
In fact, in 2007 or 8, I by chance met with a very senior board member from the Tata Group in Pune. I was posted over there, and we got chatting and we connected, and sort of he motivated me to make a change and come and join Tata. So I sent him my CV. I met him in Bombay House, where the Tata Group headquarters is. And then as things went along, then I got appointed by Tata Projects. So I did not do any, I did not really have the need or necessity to do any of these 6 months IIM courses, because while in service, I got this opportunity. And once I got my appointment order, then I put in my resignation, which took some long time to get through. And then finally, I joined Tata Projects in 2009.
And can you tell us about your studies at XLR at Jamshedpur, sir?
So I joined Tata Projects as head of administration in 2009. And within a year, I was given additional responsibility of material management and project logistics. And so I was handling 2-3 portfolios simultaneously. So in 2012, I thought it's better that I move into an HR role. I found that suitable to my profile. So I searched around and I found that the post-graduation certificate in HR course of XLRI is a very reputed one. And I found it better than some other institutions and colleges. So I applied for that course in 2012. There was an interview. I got through the interview. And therefore it was about a year. The course was about a year long. And we had live sessions twice a week. And it was a very tough course. It's a very demanding course with a lot of projects, a lot of exams, lot of submissions. Yeah, but we did well. And I stood second on the course. And with this qualification, I moved into an HR role in Tata Projects.
As a head HR, can you tell us about the importance of this MBA in terms of distance oblique executive MBA, and how is a value addition for the officers under transition, sir?
A lot of people, who are transitioning and who connect with me on LinkedIn, they fundamentally ask me this question, that they're an MBA or they are planning to do their MBA. So let me just clarify a couple of points here. Firstly, I'll just stick to the question. There are some other related issues which we will talk about later. The question is a distance education of any use? And therefore, if we have to upskill, what sort of MBA does one need to do? So my answer to everybody and whoever wants to take my advice is that distance education in terms of MBA really has no value in the corporate. It's just for your own satisfaction probably that you are doing it, or probably somebody has advised you wrongly. But a distance MBA really has no value. And if you are, let's say, and I'm talking to those officers who have got age on their sides, late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s. I would say then that you should look at a couple of things. Either you appear for the CAT, get into a very, very premier institution like the IIM, or you appear for the GMAT, get into a very premier institution in the US. Or if you want to stay in India, you get enrolled into the regular course of the Indian School of Business, Hyderabad. If you are doing this, your career is going to take a quantum leap. But if you're going to say that I will do a distance education from XYZ college or ABC college, it's really going to add no value to your CV, not your career. It's just a waste of time, effort, and money.
Can you please elaborate on the procedure of clearing the XLRI program, what you have done, sir, and what is the preparation time required if somebody wants to do it?
So I don't know what's the process now. I did it in 2012. I applied in 2012. So there was no exam per se. It was just you applied and there was an interview process. And I got through that interview process. And probably at that point of time, I was around 42 or 42 and a half years old, and 43. And one of the questions, that interviewer asked me, so he says, you are 42, 43 now. How will you cope with all these youngsters? So I said, probably it could be the other way around. How will they cope with me? So, and that's how the course went, and that's how we proved ourselves. And I stood second on the course.
Any other relevant certifications you feel the transitioning officers must have?
So this point is related to the previous question of an online MBA and associated certifications. So I've seen a lot of officers, doing Lean Sigma, doing this black belt, and doing some Scrum, and all sorts of certifications. Really, they are good to have, and I'm also including PMP in this now. The PMP is a very good certification, but for an entry level, really, some of these certifications may not have much of a value. So my suggestion is, if you're an engineering graduate, let's say you're a BTech, and so that's going to, so your CV is going to be viewed with that in mind. You are a BTech, and therefore that is your entry degree into the organization. You may be a BTech civil, mechanical, electrical, you may be a BTech computer science, or whatever it is. So a lot of jobs, a lot of technical jobs have this as basic entry barrier into the organization. For example, Tata Projects. So Tata Projects is an infra company, and the competitors of Tata Projects, that's Larsen and Toubro and other companies. Your entry barrier is a BTech degree. You may be an online MBA, you may do a lot of other certifications. It doesn't matter. Your basic qualification is what is essential. Now, having said that, there are certain lines of work and certain career options. For example, cybersecurity, or in a security-related field. their specific cybersecurity related or security related certifications are relevant. So this is what I want to inform everybody here, that I've seen officers having a whole lot of certifications which really adds no real value to their proposition for applying to multiple jobs.
How important is resume making, sir? And what do companies look into whenever the newly transitioned officer apply for a first-time role?
Yes. So I get a lot of requests on LinkedIn. Can you advise me how to go about it? And so I said, please send me your CVs. And I see a lot of CVs of service officers, and they send me the CVs, and I have a lot of comments to make on it. Firstly, service officers who have not taken any other advice. So they somehow feel that a record of service has to be translated as a CV. That's not the case. No one is really interested, that you were a adjutant and then you became a quartermaster and then you became a company commander and then you did this and then you did that course, you did junior command course and you did senior command course. Then, your record of service is not what is going to get looked at. Please understand that a recruiter is looking for a CV to close a specific position, and he has got a job description in front of him, and he is going to look at a CV based on that job description. Therefore, if you are looking at let's say a project manager in an infrastructure company, then your CV should be based on a project manager on infra-based projects. If you're looking at a role as an IT engineer or a computer engineer, your CV should be based on that. If you want to apply for a security related job or an administration related job, your CV should be tailored to that aspect. And if you have a job description which you have seen online and you are then wanting to apply for a job, please ensure that the job description aspects are well mentioned in your CV. CV should be about optimum 2 pages, can go up to 3 pages, no problem. But give your experience for the job that you are applying for. So this is my advice.
And do you think, sir, considering the option of external assistance in terms of resume building or LinkedIn profiling, or for that matter, job consultation is suggested?
Yes, you must take and should take all possible assistance and get your CV in a manner that a corporate recruiter will look at it. Or if you are doing the 6 months IIM courses and IIFT courses, and if you're applying for a specific position, then tailor your CV to meet that specific position. Please take help of course mates or your seniors who are already in the corporate. Reach out to me and reach out to whomever you feel comfortable with. We will advise you how to modify your CV and what to delete and what to add. External help is very much required. But if you go straight away, let's say you go to the paid Naukri service, probably they may also get a bit confused as to how to deal with you. So it's always good to look at officers who are already in corporate, take their advice as to how to modify or tailor make your CV.
Sir, please tell us about 3 different roles that you have worked in Tata Group.
So as I said, I joined Tata Projects as head of administration. And I was looking at the administration pan-India. We had about a large number of sites all across India. And we had 3 corporate offices. So I was looking after the corporate administration as well as site-related administration. Site-related administration is always a challenge because sites are far-flung, remote areas. So you really have to be on the ball. And I think I really added value to my role. People really appreciated what I did. And then within a year, I was given an additional responsibility of project logistics and material management, which are about two roles of supply chain management. So on one hand, I was doing administration and I was reporting to the head of HR. On the other hand, uh, material management and project logistics was a supply chain aspect. So and therefore I was also reporting to the head of supply chain. Now this connected me a lot to my sites, connected me to a lot to various employees, and also brought me a lot of visibility within the organization. So my advice here is whatever additional roles you get in an organization, please take them. As an army officer, you are more likely to succeed in multiple roles than other people. And of course, you have to learn on the job. You have to get really involved, and you must know your job. So within about a few months, I think I knew a lot of aspects regarding material management, storekeeping, project logistics, imports, exports, and all the related aspects. Once I moved into an HR role, I shed the material management and the project logistics role. I continued with HR and administration till 2015, and as the organization was growing, multitasking was becoming that much more difficult within the organization. And organization revenues were really growing, businesses were growing. So I shed administration in 2015, and I moved full time into HR in 2015. And when I left my HR role, my business units had a turnover of almost 5,000 crores, and I was responsible for around 1,300 employees on rolls and a similar number of 1,300 employees off rolls. So about almost 2,600 employees, 5,000 crore revenue, and I was having somewhere around 70 to 80 project sites to handle. I was handling three business unit heads, and I was located in Noida, and it's from there that I left Tata Projects.
And how different is the current role as CEO of mining company in Zambia, sir?
Yeah, so the reason why I left Tata's in September of 22 was that I got a role to move into a business role. I got an opportunity to move into a business role, and that of course should be, I think, everybody's dream to lead a business, to move into the business and to lead a business. So I got this opportunity, and so this is a mining company in Zambia, and we have a coal mine, and we also have a 300 megawatt power plant. So our business is to mine and sell coal, and also to generate and sell electricity to the Zambian electricity utility. And I'm really enjoying my role. It's a completely different job. It's a very new job. You have to learn this job right from scratch. But I think my tenure in the army, dealing with people, dealing with men, and looking at the multiple roles that we have handled in the army, multiple roles that I've handled while in Tata Projects, and looking at the business very closely in Tata Projects as the head of HR. I think these are the aspects which enabled me to get this opportunity. And here I am in Zambia, and I am the CEO of this company, which has a revenue of around $220 million, which corresponds to around 1,800 crores.
Indeed, sir. I am sure your experience might have helped you. Any opportunities if somebody already under transition or transitioned officer want to directly apply to this kind of roles in the foreign country, sir?
Yes, why not? We can always look at these. We can always look at the roles. We have a lot of Indian expatriates here, especially in the power plant. and we are always open to look at good people coming in. Sure, no doubt.
Great, sir. And is it suggested and convenient to change the roles once we start our career in any domain, maybe IT or the some HR role or something like that?
So my view is, if you have got into a domain after leaving the service, firstly, I will take a step back here. And my statement here is not for, of course, young officers and short service officers who are leaving. My statement is for, let's say, slightly senior officers who are 50 or 50 plus, or nearing 50 or 55, or superannuated. The industry is a very age sensitive organization. Retirement ages range from 58 to 60. So therefore, if they have to hire somebody laterally in a senior position, which army officers would get hired in senior position, they would rather hire someone who's about 40, 45 or so, rather than hire somebody who's around 55, 54, 55 or so. Having said this, there are some exceptions here. There will always be some exceptions here and there. But please understand, industry is very, very age sensitive. And thinking that if I am in the army, it's very easy for me to get a job at whatever age I am. No, that the corporate really does not work like that. So one must be very, very clear as to why someone is leaving the army prematurely. And reasons must be very, very clear. And your outlook towards getting a job opportunity must be very strong. If that is not so, my continuous recommendation to course juniors, squadron types, regiment types, this type, that types, is then if you are in that age bracket, and if you really don't have anything to look at, you don't have anything in hand, you may strongly look at reemployment. It's a very good option. Now, coming back to your question, and therefore, slightly officers who are let's say, comparatively younger, early 40s, late 30s, if you have got into a domain, then you may change organizations keeping the domain same. Continuously changing your domain and your career path may not be a good option, because organizations will be confused as to, what's your career path. They will not be able to understand, and therefore your recruitability will be that much more diminished. You can remain in a particular domain, you can change companies, but I would suggest that unless you are really struggling in a particular domain at the beginning of your corporate career, that's different. You may change, but I would suggest that you stick to your domain.
So viewers, as explained by the panelist, it is very important to select the role before beginning your career. Sir, please tell us about your studies at School of Inspired Leadership.
Yeah, so this was a School of Inspired Leadership is basically has an MBA degree now, but those days it also had a lot of HR related domain expertise courses, and the company nominated me to attend one of those HR courses, which was about 3 weeks long. So it wasn't 3 modules, about a week long, and they really got into the nitty-gritties of the various aspects of HR. So it was a course which aligned me more into the HR domain, and it was sponsored by the company.
Okay, sir. Sir, what are the key lessons of Army which you feel that they were very helpful in your corporate job?
See, I think this is an easy question to answer, and I think by and large everybody knows this. Army officers, I think, by virtue of their service in the services, are exceptionally high on attitude, exceptionally high on let's say, go-getting attitude, what I'm trying to say, and they get the work done. And these are some key aspects which some of the corporates look at. Some corporates which have a very heavy veteran hiring program, I think, understand this concept, and therefore they have this really they hire a lot of service officers. We are talking about JP Morgan, we are talking about Wells Fargo, we are talking about Amazon, and other organizations. So these are aspects which each army officer is very, very good at. But somehow there are certain things which army officers must learn to, let's say, look at themselves, is that they must also understand that they don't know everything. And sometimes this aspect, gets the better of them in the corporate, saying that हमने आर्मी में तो सब कुछ देखा है, यहाँ मतलब what will they teach us here new? But that's not the case. Corporates have a different culture. Corporates have a different way of doing things. The job profile is totally different from the army. You can use the attributes of the army, but you also have to learn the job in the corporate. That's very important.
How important is the first interview and the salary negotiation, sir?
Yes. So again, I will go back to the question about the CV. The CV is the first thing that your interviewer is going to see. And if CV is a mismatch with the profile that he is looking to hire, so really, half the battle is lost there itself. And if I know of certain officers who, let's say, are let's say interviewing or getting interviewed for the role of, let's say, business acquisition, the BD roles, then your preparation and your preparation of CV should be aligned to that role. That's very important. You have to read your job description very, very carefully, understand whether you are up to it. And if you feel that you are up to it, then you have got to tailor your CV to that aspect, and therefore prepare to answer questions based on that role. Because the interviewer is going to check how well have you understood this role, and secondly, can you really do this job? You may say it in the interview, yes, why not? I have done so many things in the army. Ye kya cheez hai? Any job I can do, but that's not how the corporates work. Corporates are going to check, your interviewer is going to check, can you really perform this role? And they're looking for clues in your answers whether you can perform this role. So it's very important to go very well prepared for the interview, and for a specific interview for a specific role, that must be very clear to you.
So the key advice here is to make a specific resume as per the job description for a specific role. Sir, does the arm/service background of a particular armed forces officer, and that too in terms of technical or non-technical background, really matter while choosing a new role or the job?
There are certain roles which are technical or non-technical agnostic. There are operations in, let's say, non-technical companies, logistics, Amazon type companies, e-commerce, security related, risk profiles. These are really agnostic to whether you are technical or you are a non-technical profile. However, there are certain jobs which you will require a technical degree. Infrastructure, engineering companies, IT companies, you will require a basic degree of engineering, either in, let's say, civil, mechanical, electrical, or in IT related. That's for sure. So if you are looking at going into a construction company, and if you're a non-tech, it's very, very challenging.
is it suggested to switch the companies for better hikes, sir?
Of course, switching of companies is no longer looked down upon, definitely. And if you've got adequate experience in your role, let's say about 3-4 years in an organization, if another competitor company which is as good is looking at you for a higher role, you must take that opportunity.
How good is this role of HR for any male officer, sir, specifically?
So let's not talk about male officers or female officers. I think a lot of army officers have succeeded as HR leaders in organization. I know quite a few. There are quite a few in Tatas. There is the head of HR of Voltas is an ex-infantry officer. I was there in Tata Projects, so I'm aware of quite a few officers who have done really well in the HR role. And I keep seeing a lot of LinkedIn posts by a lot of short service officers, male and female both, who have moved into HR and who are doing really well in HR in these organizations. It's all a matter of how early you get into this opportunity and what sort of certifications you have. You should have some sort of certification in HR to, let's say, to get into an HR role. And yeah, I think male, female, whatever it is, I think army officers are doing well and will continue to do well in an HR role. I've seen a lot of lady officers and gents officers who are doing exceedingly well in HR.
So it's a good takeaway that the HR role is not a gender biased role, and army officers should consider this role as they are inherently acquired this specification or the knowledge throughout their service. And sir, what do you miss most from your uniformed life, sir?
That's a good question. So I think the whole social environment in the army, the camaraderie in the army, the spirit of the army, I don't think there's any organization in the world, or definitely this country, or perhaps this world, who can match all these things outside the service. That's for sure. So please understand that everything is open to negotiation. In fact, probably a lot of recruiters expect negotiation. So you must negotiate. And please understand clearly how a corporate salary is structured. There are certain deductions which will go out from your salary and which will not come into your bank. So if someone is saying your CTC is, let's say, 30 lakhs, so obviously your monthly salary cannot be 30 divided by 12. That's not going to happen. So a lot of companies also will have variable pay. Please understand the aspect of variable pay very, very carefully. If you have got doubts, please ask and re-ask and again re-ask if you have not understood. Okay, the variable pay payouts generally happen, but it's rarely that I've seen 100% payout on the variable pay, because it all depends on business performance, your own performance, your company performance, and so many other factors which will come into the play. So you must be very clear what's going to be your take home after deduction of the various deductions of gratuity, provident fund, and of course income tax. You must also be very clear what's going to be your variable pay, how often will you get it, and what has been the payout trend of variable pay in your company. And right, so if you're a technical officer, let's say BTech, and if you're getting into a technical field, into a line function, then around 10 years you should be around looking at around between 25 and 30. If you're around 14 years, you should be looking at around 35 odd at least. Yeah. And if you're non-technical, getting into low roles like security, administration, and all, now again, depending on company to company, Adani and Reliance will pay much higher. Other companies will pay much lower. So please understand that.
Great, sir. Any last word of the advice for the officers under transition, sir?
My advice will be in two parts. Firstly, for the senior lot in terms of age, they should be very, very clear as to why they want to leave the army prematurely. That reason must be very strong and should be backed up by clear understanding as to which domain and which line of business or what is the career path that they want to take up. By saying kuch na kuch to mil hi jayega may happen sometimes, but I've seen a lot of officers who have done well also, but and also a similar number of officers who are really struggling. So I've seen both sides of this coin. Now, the officers who are on short service commission, therefore, they have a very clear idea as to when will they be leaving the service. So therefore, maybe about a year in advance, they should start looking at what sort of domain and what sort of career path they want to take up in the corporate. And therefore, moving and preparing on those lines from that time onwards. This includes researching companies. This includes taking up relevant certifications if it is required. Some of them are totally not very relevant. Get your profile up and running on LinkedIn. Make relevant posts on LinkedIn pertaining to your domain, and connect with those executives of the companies that you are targeting, and then have a conversation with them. I think this is my advice how to go about your release from the service.
Thank you so much for your valuable time, sir. I'm sure your suggestion with respect to the higher studies in terms of MBA, as well as various certifications, and as your advice about the HR and the expectations from the company will be a value addition to all the viewers. Thank you once again, sir. It was a great interaction with you.
Thank you very much, Arya.